Well, this year there is a bit of a downturn, and we're all aware of that, and there's been some official explanations as to why. We've been advised that next year will be up on the previous year, so this year it'll just be like a little blip in the calendar, and we hope that's the case. But it is noticeable. Traders are saying that they notice less people, less spenders in the streets, which is something to be something of concern.
And how confident do you feel that this will inject life into Main Street?
So 2 years ago we funded a study of Main Street called the Main Street Review, where we brought over a company from the UK that does exactly that, study high streets and look at how you can improve them. They gave us a big plan and a structure of what we can do, and then we've set out moving on that plan. And that plan really revolves around a thing called the Business Improvement District, which we for short is called the BID. So we're looking to develop the Main Street BID, and that's our next project that we're working on at the moment, and that's something that's going to directly tackle Main Street, improve Main Street, and continuously work on Main Street.
And so what are the things that, for instance, in your opinion, need improving? Is it the quality of the shops? Is it the high street brands? Is it the uniqueness of the shops that you can't get anywhere else?
Well, I suppose it's a bit of everything, but really is more of having a direction and a vision. So at the moment, if you ask the tourist what is Main Street, it would be a general mix of shops, and some of the answers might not be the ones we want. So if we want people to have an image and an understanding of the branding of Main Street, we need to tell them what that is. And at the moment, everybody is a single retailer or multiple retailers, but we're not singing from the same hymn sheet. We don't have the same vision, we don't have the same direction. So the bid is to kind of bring everybody together, have a single understanding of where we're going, and work almost as if it was a big shopping centre. So Westfield, for example, in the UK, they have a direction, they have a vision, they have a goal, and they have a branding, and that's the kind of thing we need to do for a high street. So Main Street needs to be branded as something. And what is that brand going to be? That's where the bid is going to provide that and move forward from there. So it tackles every little aspect, from parking issues through to promotion of Main Street, the branding of Main Street, busking issues, events, everything really. It will cover everything and be working directly for Main Street.
And what kind of change should we expect to see on Main Street?
We're going to maintain Main Street, but perhaps, in Carnaby Street you have these archways of entrances, so that's something to look at. We're probably looking at having cameras around the street that provide Wi-Fi, but also provide information on statistics of how many people walk through Main Street and where they go, so we can plan hotspots and stuff, more advertising opportunities, but there'll also be things like possible clustering of shops. So, in Westfield you might have an area which is concentrated on jewellery. That's something that could be considered in Gibraltar too. So do we have an area that people go to for that specific type of goods? So it's kind of this whole overlooking and branding and direction for Main Street, and it's thinking of it as that, not just a lot of little pieces, it's the whole together. How can we make this thing work and best, and it's going to help everybody at the same time.
You spoke there about grouping of certain types of shops. Would that mean certain shops changing from where they are now?
Well, it's a possibility, where the bid is not something to force people to do things. It's to work together and say, what would be the best step? If you've got someone leaving your premises, maybe, and you're a landlord, you might think, oh, well, if we're going to try and have the jewellery district, it would be worthwhile attracting a jeweller to move here rather than something else. So it's that kind of idea, almost has happened naturally in Casemates. Casemates is the shopping and, the eating and dining area, and that's provided a good core for that area. So it's, what are the other areas? Are they going to have their own definition or not? But that's something that will be decided by the bid.
And have you spoken to shop owners in Main Street about the bid? How do they feel about it?
Yeah, we have some shop owners already on the group of people that are working, the working group for the bid. They're all excited about it. Some of them are a bit resistant to change. Some of them think perhaps that it might not actually happen. But on the whole, people are excited about the possibility of someone working to improve their outlets, basically. We're going to be proactively improving Main Street without waiting long time for things to get done. We'll be actually having a team whose job it will be to improve Main Street constantly.
And when will we see any sort of changes? How far along are we in this process?
Okay, so what happens now is we've started the contract with a company in the UK. We're going to come out here and help us to kickstart the whole bid process. That's going to take 8 months to a year perhaps to be fully finished. We're going to try and accelerate that as much as we can, but that will start in September. So from September, just after National Day, we'll already have the team over here who will be speaking to stakeholders, mainly shop owners, but also speaking to the press and so on, and finding out, and there'll the way it works is that you have to get a legislation planned out and then a ballot, and then that has to be passed, and then once that passed it becomes part of legislation, and then everybody pays towards this bid.
And how confident is the GFSB that this will inject life into Main Street?
We are very confident. I mean, we're doing this for Main Street. You know, there's no other reason to do it. And we've spoken to a lot of business owners, and since we started the Main Street review, people have come to us and encouraged us to go ahead with it. You know, it's a lot of work, but we're getting it done. And you know, something very important is that we took the first big step of actually funding the review. We had some sponsors help us and do that, but the GFSB mainly paid for that. That's done. Now we've been liaising with this company for the bid, and we've managed to negotiate a very good deal with the government, where the government are kindly paying for this first stage of the bid process. So that's something that we're very thankful for, and we can see that the government are also interested in improving Main Street.